Eretmis Academy and our programs. And today we have one of our very own who will be pretty much going through their life journey, how they decided to switch to cybersecurity and what they are currently doing so far, right? So before we get into that whole kit and caboodle, we'll do a quick housekeeping and we'll go ahead and go from there. All right. So like I said, we have our very own Gabriel. He'll be walking us through his journey, how he started, why did he even decide to, pursue a career in cybersecurity. We'll go into all of that. What was he doing before he decided to pivot into cybersecurity? We'll go into that. How was it difficult? And also we'll be monitoring the chat as well. This is for you all, honestly. So we'll give you an opportunity to ask any questions that you may have as to, if you are first time trying to become a cybersecurity professional, what you need to know and their journey, right? So feel free. When we get to that time, we'll open up to the floor and we'll receive questions as and when they come in. All right, let's do a quick housekeeping here. Of course, everybody know this guy, and I don't have to talk much about him. Dr. Edu, founder and CEO of Eretmis Cybersecurity and the Academy as well. Everybody knows this. I'm not going to spend more time on that. Let's go ahead. So at Eretmis, we are also CompTIA authorized partner. And what that means is whenever you decide to take any of CompTIA certifications, you have an opportunity to get a 20% discount. All you have to do is send us a quick email, reach out to us. We'll give you a voucher, and that's what you use to get that 20% discount on all CompTIA certifications. All right. So we have something that we also call continuous education or continuous educational unit, CEUs. This is pretty much seen across all disciplines of, certifications. And what that means is every 3 years, instead of going ahead and resit for the examination, you do have an opportunity to, submit what we call our continuous education by participating in cybersecurity seminars and also any podcast or anything that you pretty much do. And what we do here is this counts as a live cybersecurity instructor-led, webinar. So all you need to do is just type #TeamLive into the screenshot, into the Zoom chat. Just take a screenshot, file it away. So whenever your 3-year period ends, you can submit this as your CEUs. I actually have a whole video about that myself on the Eretmis YouTube channel. So feel free and go take a look at it. It walks you through how to, submit your CEUs and get credit for all of that as well. All right. So by here at Eretmis Cyber, we do have a lot of social media platforms. This is one of them. Please, if you're not part of our cyber WhatsApp group, we highly encourage you to join. We share a lot of information there with our classes, events, and we have people who also put in info. All right. And I'll put more information at the very end as to how you can join the groups. All right. Eretmis School Community is also live. I'm sure most of you have already heard about it, but if you haven't, please, reach out to us. It's a school. You have access to a lot of resources and a lot of information out there. I highly encourage you to go to the website and you will learn more about Eretmis School Community. All right. So our Vows Day promo sale is still ongoing. Unfortunately, it will be ending midnight tonight. So please, if you want to take advantage of any of our classes, it's highly discounted up to 30%. So please highly take advantage of that. Don't wait for the discount to be over. This is the time to do it. And tonight will be the last day. All right. So we have some upcoming training as well. As you can see, we were supposed to start our GRC internship this week, but we have pushed that to next week. So if you look up the screen, feel free to grab a screenshot. It will be starting on March 7th of next month. We have our AI governance specialist class as well, also starting on March 9th, and also 7-day AI GRC Cyber Challenge. It's ongoing. The new one will be starting on March 10th as well. PCI DSS, as Dr. Du always say, one of the most lucrative by far niches in cybersecurity. So that class will also be starting. We do have the specialist and the expert class as well. All the data there. And also, last but not the least, is the cybersecurity entry-level course as well, also starting March 16th. And these courses, the coupons, the Valze coupons code is right there. It's still valid up to midnight of today. So please feel free, take advantage of it, and you can enroll in any of these classes that is being offered by Eretmis Academy. All right. And this is the AI Cybersecurity GRC Challenge. You've heard a lot about it. I'll not waste a lot of time here. Maybe during the course, we'll probably throw more light on it, but I'm sure a lot of people here are, eager to listen to Gabriel, his whole journey. And before we dive into that, let me touch on some few things here. I want to bring this back up again. 30% Val's Day sale ending tonight. Feel free and take advantage of it. All right. And who are we? This our information. If you are trying to become a cybersecurity professional, you have no IT background, you don't have to know anything in IT. Everybody at least needs to start from somewhere, right? And that's what we do here at the Eretmis Academy. We try to mentor you and provide you all the tools to be very successful. And we do get questions all the time. We have a lot of people who have been through our program and they are successful on their job as well. So I'll not talk a lot about this. You all already know as a part of the community. Feel free, take advantage of this. And our goal is to help you, give you all the tools, train you, and for you to land your first cybersecurity job. All right. I know we've already talked about all of this. So I'll quickly skip through. All right, now to why everybody's here. So we have Gabriel, Gabriel in our midst now. He's going to talk to us. At first, we'll just have him get the floor. We'll give him the opportunity to quickly introduce himself to the Eretmis community, his name, his journey, just a quick intro about himself, and we'll go ahead and dive into more targeted and specific questions. So if you are here, Gabriel, if you can give a quick shout out or you can say a quick here, we'll have you bring you online and
Right
we'll have
here,
you.
sir.
All right. Thank you so much, Gabriel. We really do appreciate your time. As you can see, currently I'm looking at the chat right now. We have about 41 people in the chat. They are eager to listen to your journey, and your journey will probably, and I'm certain and absolutely confident that it will be an inspiration to someone who is probably thinking about being a cybersecurity professional, doesn't know where to start. And hopefully by the end of this discussion, that's exactly the goal we are trying to achieve here. By the end of the discussion, people will know how you started, and it will give them hope and opportunity for them to do exactly what you have done. So, Gabriel, please, if you don't mind, can you do a quick introduction about yourself? Just a quick 2 minutes intro about yourself, where you're from, how you heard about Eretmis and your journey so far. And we'll go into, we'll dive into some specific questions.
All right. Thank you very much. And I want to quickly appreciate Dr. Adu for this rare opportunity. And it's just a testament of the growth and success the entire program has recorded over the years. And it keeps recording success for individuals like me who didn't have um, the confidence, the clarity to delve into the IT field without proper tutelage from someone like Dr. Adu. So it's a great privilege to be here tonight, and I want to believe someone would benefit from my story just like I did, and I've benefited from several other people's story over the past 3 years. My name is Gabriel, and just before I introduce myself, I want to make sure that everyone listening to me tonight understand and be able to pack whatever I say into these three different boxes. All I'm going to discuss tonight would fall into three categories. It will describe my process, the encounter that I had, and the progress I was able to make after my encounter with Eretmis Academy. So just box everything into three: process, encounter, and progress. So my name is Gabriel. I am a lifelong learner and educator. Um, my conscience is nurtured by truth, and I love to create impact and value everywhere I find myself. I started my career as an educator immediately after university days, and I was teaching in a British school for about 10 years. And in 2019, I decided to start my PhD program, which I did at the University of North Texas. But for one reason or the other, I had to put a pause to that. So in 2021, instead of continuing my PhD program, I decided to pivot and take a double master's instead. So in 2021, I took a double master's and I decided, you know what, I was going to go into the field of teaching fully. So I started teaching with the Dallas ISD for a while. I was doing that already while my program started because it's required by the doctorate program I was taking at that period. But in the course of that, there were lots of things going on, especially the incessant shootings in schools. And I had a young family. So my wife was pressuring that, you know what, you can't continue to do this because if you notice at that period of time, if there's a shooting in one school, there's always a ripple effect in other schools. Someone else will just pick it up, and it was just like that back to back. And the fear was way too much. So I decided I was going to transition from teaching into IT proper. So that's how my journey started. So I did a couple of things, but just to save time, that's what my story of transitioning from education, teaching proper into the IT field. And yeah, just like I said, I needed to find a meaning for that transition because I had to ask myself certain questions and how that transition was going to be possible. Being the kind of person I am, I love to learn. I love education. I can study whatsoever and get my hands on it once I have proper tutelage and clarity for that particular thing. But I noticed that for the IT field, as much as people say it's saturated, there are several opportunities. So that was one of the main attraction for me, that there are lots of opportunities in here. It is lucrative. Everyone loves money. I love money a whole lot. So I said, okay, if this is lucrative, how do I change my personal goal and objective as a person? My personal goal is to touch a future I cannot see, and that I chose to pursue by teaching in schools, teaching young ones, equipping them for a future that I might not see myself. That was my goal. So I needed to transition to IT. So that goal has to have a meaning in IT. So I had to break that down. And I was able to find a meaning that, okay, yes, if I train students in schools, teach in schools, these students would have their own businesses, they would have visions and objectives they need to occupy. And for me to be able to pursue that, their truth is to ensure that their visions and objectives are met. So if there's an IT field that helps protect whatever helps them achieve their goals and objectives in the organizations that they work, then I can actually help protect that system, which is why I was able to find that transition in meaning into IT proper. So, and while I was doing that, I knew from the way that I learned, for me to be able to enjoy what I do, I get bored easily. And I needed to keep learning something new on a daily basis. And I told myself that if IT would be the thing for me, I cannot get into IT and not know exactly what I'm doing. So I needed someone to more like an apprenticeship and mentorship. That was what I know I needed. And I needed to find someone who can teach me the way I learn. I learn by doing, and I learn by following someone who is experienced enough to put me through the ropes. So that's how I found my way through to Eretmis after several trials in different places. So I think that would suffice for a brief introduction. Thank you very much.
All right. Thank you so much, Gabriel, for giving that great and insightful intro. I want to take this to a different level. So, why don't you tell us your current role, what you do now, and then we'll take a step, because I'm sure there are a lot of people in the group, they just want to know, okay, what do you do now? What company do you work for? And then we'll take a step back and go to your journey, right? How the resources and everything. So, yeah, can you just tell the group what is your current role and what do you do?
So currently, I work for a data center company. Um, it has about 14 data centers across the world, Europe, North America, Middle East, and Africa. And I function as the internal compliance manager for that organization. And what I do is manage the entire compliance program for that organization. We have an adherence to three major frameworks, which are ISO 27001, PCI DSS, and SOC 2 Type 2. So I function as a subject matter expert on all three frameworks that I've just mentioned. And for every requirement that we need to fulfill as an organization, I run the entire program to make sure that we do all that is required by those three frameworks on a yearly basis. And some of the little items under that includes conducting risk assessments, managing the risk register, performing third-party risk management, vulnerability management. What else comes into that again? Yeah, security and awareness training, as well as several other functions that cut across the main domains of GRC. So that's what I do currently with my organization.
All right. Thank you so much, Gabriel. We really do appreciate that. For those who just joined, I know we currently have 55 people, about 14 people have joined since you started. So just to do a quick recap, we have Gabriel here, one of our students here. He's currently working as an IT manager, cybersecurity manager, GRC, like he just said. So he's going to walk us through his journey. And for those who just joined, he was pretty much in education, field. He was a teacher and just going to higher ed and all that good stuff. He, wanted a career to switch with him and his family, decided a decision that, okay, we have to look at different roles. And yeah, he considered IT, and that's when he decided to pivot into cybersecurity. This is for those who just joined. So Gabriel did touch on some few stuff. He, with his company, pretty much spread across, the globe, and he's pretty much responsible for ISO 27001, ISMS, PCI, and also SOC 2 Type 2 as well. We'll dive into the nitty-gritty of that, but I think everybody here will love to know your journey. So let's start by if you can tell the 55 people here on the Zoom chat today, before you started, right, I would say, what resources or what training did you decide to do that really helped you? Like, who introduced you to, Eretmis? How's your prep like, and what resources did really, really help you to become where you are or prepare you for your role right now?
Okay, so my transition started with my encounter with a church member that worked as an IT auditor in one of the big fours. And just like several other people with ample knowledge of their specific area in cybersecurity, they tend to teach people what they know and what they do. So I was opportuned to speak with her, and she put me through the ropes of IT auditing. I did more of a training with her for, I think, about a month. And at the end of that, I felt if this is all that I need to know to break into cybersecurity, then by the next week, I should have a job already. I was super confident, and I said, okay, if this is what people get paid six figures for, then I'm good to go and ready. But what I took out of that class was more like handing me a hip hop mountain and telling me to find a room in that mountain. So for every interview that I got immediately after that training, I was representing myself as a subject matter expert in too many things that I did not know the details of. But I felt, okay, being an educator, I can always read, get that knowledge. So I was reading, getting knowledge, reading, getting knowledge. And at the end of the day, I got frustrated that jobs were not forthcoming. And at the point, interviews actually dried up. So I decided, you know what, like I mentioned initially, that I get bored and tired quickly. So I'm like, you know what, this is not what it seems to be. I need to move on and get going with whatever I was doing at that period. So I stopped interviewing, and you know how the IT environment is. People keep coming that, oh, this is the in thing at this time. Oh, you can take Splunk, you can take ServiceNow, you can take Salesforce, you can learn RMF, you can do this and do that. I didn't have any direction that I was following. So if one person tells me, okay, you know what, let's do a ServiceNow training together, I'll jump on that. Oh, let's do ServiceNow. Oh, there's Salesforce. People are any 130, 140 doing Salesforce. Oh, I will say, okay, let me see what that's about. So I was just gathering knowledge without knowing the foundation of what IT itself was about. So I did that for a bit, and jobs were not forthcoming. I was wasting lots of money until I, by chance, actually on Instagram, an advertisement popped up, and lo and behold, I saw Dr. Adu in that advert. I'm like, okay, I'm not paying anybody for any training any longer. I've spent way too much money. I'm not going to do this. So I said, you know what? I'll go back to my old self. I doubt until I find something to believe. So what I did was I joined Eretmis Cyber Chat, and I was literally understudying Dr. Adu for 9 good months before I could make up my mind that, you know what, my next level and next training has to be from someone who would hold my hands and teach me the ropes of what IT is all about. Then I can find my niche from whatever it teaches me at the end of the day. So I listened, followed Cyberchat religiously for good 9 months. And I came to a point where I said, okay, Dr. Adu is an educator like myself. I love the way he breaks things down, grandpa style. And that's exactly the way I learned. So I didn't just take the theory from his teachings, the videos that I had on YouTube. I fed on all those videos, and I was literally speaking like him at some point. So I decided, okay, now that I've actually imbibed this man's method, now I can invest my money into being under his tutelage. So what I did at that period, I had wasted too much money, and the only choice that I had to get into the training with Dr. Adu, just like I told him when I eventually got a job, I had to do a proper presentation to my wife to convince her that, you know what, this last sum in our family savings is going for a good cause. I told Dr. Ado I had to present to her for me to convince her that, you know what, this is going to work this time around. I'm 100% certain that this would work. So it was more like a one-way ticket for me. It is either it works or it doesn't work, because I had a query to answer even before getting into the program itself. And I was turned between taking an real estate course in appraisals and taking Dr. Adu's course. I used to do real estate back in Africa. So I thought, okay, I can leverage on that. Since IT is not working, let me do real estate this time around. But I was just tired of following bandwagon and trying to catch the next train of what was working. So I said, you know what, with all of the investment I've made, it won't kill me to make one last investment, even if I had to put the family savings on the line. So my wife agreed. I made payment for the internship program, and here we are today. Thank you.
Wow. Thank you so much, Gabriel. Yeah. So for those of you who joined, just a quick summary as well. Gabriel was into education, like he said at the beginning, because of some, recent happenings in schools and institutions. He decided to pivot and discuss with the family, especially the spouse. He can tell very supportive. He decided to pursue a career in cybersecurity. He did something before, and taking different classes did not really work out until he saw like an ad from Eretmis. That's when he decided to get on board. So thank you so much for that. And also a quick summary for those who just joined us as well. So Gabriel, Eretmis, they do offer different career and different courses. I'm sure somebody's here just trying to get their feet wet in cybersecurity, trying to break the ground running. they're trying to figure out what to do. Can you tell the group what course did you enroll in? How did you start? So there's a lot of people here, actually in the chat, 58 people right now. Someone might be from the medical industry. We've seen nurses came through our community, and now in cybersecurity field, we've seen lawyers actually came through, people from different, diverse background, right? Working in retail, supply chain and all of that, right? I'm sure there are a lot of people here in that field trying to pivot into cybersecurity. What course did you take in Eretmis Academy, and how did it help you to land your job?
Okay, so I took the cybersecurity GRC internship course. Just like I said, I'd touched different trainings with no results, and I was literally getting book knowledge without hands-on and practical. So I needed to get my hands sawed into the actual practices, understanding how systems and processes actually work in the real world. So with the modules and curriculum design of that internship class, I was put through the ropes of learning risk assessment, vulnerability management, policy development, third-party risk management, baseline configuration, security awareness training, incident response, and all of those modules, as mentioned, actually programmed my brain to speak like an authority in those different domains, because they are day in, day out practices of a GRC or cybersecurity personnel in any organization. So, one beautiful thing about that program is the way it is structured tailors your function as an expert or subject matter expert in those domains, so you have ample experience hands-on as you begin your journey in cybersecurity. So compared to the initial position where I was, that I could give you definitions, give you generic examples for each of those domains, after taking that class, I could now pitch at least 3 scenarios to explain whatever you are asking me in any of those domains. So take, for instance, if you're asking me what are the process of risk assessment, I'm speaking as an authority. Take, for instance, the first stage, which is identification. I won't just jump into it right away and tell you, oh, risk assessment starts with identification of assets, identification of threats, identification of vulnerabilities, and all of. I won't start that way. I go through the modules that I did with Eretmis during my internship class, and I let you understand, okay, where exactly does risk assessment comes in. Then I begin to explain to you that risk assessment comes from this foundation, which is understanding the visions and objective of an organization. And for those vision and objectives to come to being, there are certain assets that are required to fulfill all of those. And those assets are prone to certain vulnerabilities. So by the time I explain that initially and I tell you, okay, for me to be able to help the organization assess its risk, which would hamper its businesses if not properly mitigated, then I can actually now tell you, okay, this is what process that needs to be followed, what needs to be done. So the process from identification to continuous monitoring, I break it all down. And whoever is listening to me talk and say, okay, truly, this person understands. And I don't just give just the theory, I give practical examples. So that's one of the things the internship class taught me to do. And for each of those modules like that, I can give practical examples because it's exactly what I did on the program. And it has actually helped me build muscle memory, that when anyone is asking me a question, I'm just literally backtracking and giving it to you exactly as I did, because this is, I was in the ADDI group, and that is an organization that is in existence that actually have assets, have business objectives, and have several processes set up for it already. So I'm not just speaking from book knowledge. Comprehensively, I speak to knowledge and I speak to what I've experienced real time. So that's one of the benefits I had from that particular program, which is the Eretmis GRC internship workshop. Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much, Gabriel. The goal of this, cyber chat, this particular session is to provide value to the community, someone who's trying to be in your shoes or get to where you are today so they can learn through your journey. We'll dive into your interview process right now, but a lot of people typically have questions about certifications and they get scared that, getting a job, if I don't have some certain type of
Mhm.
certifications, I cannot get it. Can you please speak to the 62 people right now in the Zoom chat right now?
Yeah.
Was certification something that you had? Did you have a lot of certifications before you got a job? Can you
Mhm.
talk to them a little bit about that?
Okay. Thank you very much. So just like whoever is having that thought right now, I was exactly in that same shoes when I was trying to break in proper, like, okay, why am I not getting interviews anymore? What's going on? I got frustrated and people started giving different advice. Oh, do certification, do security plus, do CISA, do CISM, take this, take that. And I felt okay. Certifications is it not just to read the guide and get some practice questions. And just like I mentioned, I'm an educator. So I felt, okay, just pick it up, read, and pass. So what I did was I registered for CISM. I read all of the modules, did the exam, passed. But guess what? Jobs were not forthcoming, even with that certification. It didn't open one single door. I didn't get one single interview with that certification because all I did was read and pass. But the thing about cybersecurity is this: it is testing your ability to provide risk-based, scenario-based, practical solutions to your organization. It is not about how much you can cram definitions and processes. No, it goes way beyond that. And for very smart organizations that need very smart people to take care of that functioning in their organization, they want people that can actually provide solutions. And there's no way that you've not had experience doing that anywhere, even with your certification, you won't be able to provide those solutions. So the certification did not help me in one way or the other. And truth be told, in the process of interview for all of the organizations that I interviewed with, not one of them referred to my certification that, oh, do you have this certification? Would you be pursuing this certification? None of them asked me about certification. None. Even as we speak, what my organization require currently is continuous education, which you can get from your membership with ISACA, for instance. I still attended a vulnerability management seminar, I think just last week in my chapter here in Dallas. And there are actually provisions in ISO 27001 that your subject matter expert should show proof of continuous learning, which is why we do what we are doing here at Eretmis, where you can have your CPs updated with what we're doing right now, with seminars that you've attended, different conferences, and all of that. And guess what? Your organization will take care of it. And as it is, if I say, okay, I want to take a certification tomorrow, it gets paid by my organization. I just need to identify which one I want to take and put it on the company card. They pay for it. There is a designation or designated budget for that all through the year for you as a subject matter expert. So rushing to get certification doesn't open doors. You would gather knowledge if you genuinely read the study guide and did the exam yourself. But practically the questions on those certifications are meant for people with experience that have done things in the domains that I mentioned earlier. That's what you are tested on. So how would you take a certification in what you did not do? It doesn't add up. And if you see how those certifications are designed, particularly for CISM, CISA, and all of that, you don't get your certification until you've attained a certain number of years on the job. So if you say you are looking for entry-level jobs and you have a certification of a manager that has been working for 5, 10 years, where did you get it from? It's questionable. So that would be my take on certification. Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much, Gabriel, for the insightful information. I'll read again. The goal is to provide value to the community members, people to learn from your experience so they can also get inspired and, yearn to achieve what you have now. I'm sure there are some bumpy roads and some difficulties or challenges that you went through. So my next question to you is, Gabriel, someone is to here listening to you right now, going through some issues or some difficulties, or just trying to find the right footing. Can you talk to this group some of the challenges that you went through, right? And fast forward, when you landed your job, what advice can you give them, knowing what you know now, to navigate through those challenges? And let me take this one more time, it's very critical. People are going through a lot of challenges. They don't know where to start. They don't know how to pivot. They have no idea what to do, right? They are getting frustrated. They even want to quit, right? I'm sure you went through similar challenges. So knowing what you know now, can you talk to them about some of the challenges, and knowing what you know now, how you can advise them to pretty much overcome those challenges?
Okay, that's a very good question, and I believe it will help the core of the group in that shoes. While I was trying to transition, I just like I mentioned, I have a family. I needed to fend for my family whichever way. So leaving the education field, all I was doing is driving for Uber to make ends meet. And what that meant was I had no time. I had no time to sit and say, okay, I'm going to study for 2 straight hours, study for 3 straight hours, because there are bills to be paid for the family. I could not sit and say, I have the luxury of studying and taking exams and applying for jobs. I didn't have that luxury. So my study was literally while I was driving. I would be listening to YouTube videos, listening to Dr. Adu and several other resources that I was getting knowledge from at that period. Repetition of some of the cyber chat that we've had in the past. I would listen to them over and over and over again while I was driving. That was the only way I could keep myself abreast. So the truth is this: if you listen to those that have come on cyber chat to share their experience, one typical thing with them is they set out time, like, okay, I'm going to do this in 6 months. But my own story is extremely different. I didn't have that luxury at all because I was driving and I could not get back home and say I want to study. So one thing I would say is this: that's pretty challenging for me, because how do you study while driving? You are doing something, studying at the same. It was crazy difficult. But I had I had it in mind that, remember, I said initially, is either this works or this works. So I bought a one-way ticket. That's how I dealt with my challenge. That, you know what, this is not going to persist for too long, but whatever it takes, if it means studying while driving and all of that, this just has to work, whichever way it's going to work. It just has to work. So for most of us in that space, is either you have a job at hand or you have something doing at the moment that is still fetching you that money. I didn't have that. So we those of us in that shoe right now, we need to make up our mind and buy a one-way ticket. That, you know what, this just has to work. I don't have an alternative. It just has to work. That was the decision I made to conquer my challenges of time constraint. That, you know what, like an average Nigerian would say, we die here. That was my mindset. Is either this works or this works. So you need to buy yourself a one-way ticket, whatever it takes. But if you are still leveraging on, oh, I have an alternative where money will still come in, oh, I will maybe I'll take my internship class, I'll take my foundation class with Dr. Adu maybe next year. Or let me sit for another 3 months, another 2 years. At least I'm still making some money somewhere. If that's your mindset, trust me, the challenges would never go. But I knew I had no option. I had to zero my mind that, you know what, I've emptied the family savings, remember, to take this course. So you just had to work. It just had to work. I had to show something for whatever I've spent in the family account. So that's exactly the mindset you need to have. Zero your mind that, you know what, I'm going all out for this. Whatever it requires, I will study. And one other thing is this: you don't have to do 4 hours of study, 6 hours of study scheduled for a day. Like they say, little drops of water makes an ocean. If it is consistent 20 minutes, you see how low I've gone down. If it's consistent 20 minutes of study on all of these domains or one of these domains, one after the other, a day, if it's 20 minutes, at the end of the week, you've done more than enough to keep your memory and your spirit fresh for that new field you are trying to get into. But if you say, okay, you know what, I'll wait till Saturday and study for 8 hours for me to transition into IT. Brothers and sisters, that doesn't work. I've tried it. Trust me, it doesn't work. Especially if you need to do other things to keep body and soul together. You cannot at every time find that 8 hours, 6 hours of study. So break it down 20 minutes a day, 30 minutes a day, or 1 hour every 2 days. All of it adds up and you keep yourself fresh in knowledge. And you need to put yourself in the, remember, I mentioned that process, encounter, and progress is how we are going to compartmentalize all of these things we are talking about today. So the process requires you buy a one-way ticket, invest in someone's tutelage, someone as experienced and a good leader like Dr. Adu, get a course, understand where you are. Okay, that's another thing that I had to do. I had to understand how I study, who can actually teach me the way I study. So I was able to picture Dr. Adu as my tutor, as my mentor, and my leader in getting into IT. So studying him for 9 months with Cyber Chat and understanding, yes, this person actually fills that gap of the kind of teacher that I learned under. So doing that, I could make investments, schedule time, and know that's going to bring a productive result at the end of the day. So that will be one way of handling the challenges of breaking in. I hope that answers the question. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Gabriel. Little drops of water makes a mighty ocean indeed. Thank you so much. It doesn't matter, like Gabriel said, just put in the effort, as you can tell. You just have to find time, have to craft time for it, even if it's as little as 20 minutes a day. That will literally help you build yourself up for your next role. So TLDR, Gabriel is trying to say that whatever goal that you have set for yourself to pivot into cybersecurity, you have to make the conscious effort to put in the work, right? If it's as little as 20 minutes, please go ahead and do that. We are about 8 minutes shy, getting to the top of the hour. We'll do a quick, housekeeping and remind ourselves for those who join later what is upcoming in the Eretmis Academy and its affiliate businesses, so you know exactly what's going on. We'll dive into the interview process and what his day-to-day looks like right now. But before we dive into that, over at Eretmis Academy, we are a very diverse community. We are all inclusive. We embrace everybody from different walks of the world. So if you all can do me a favor, just in the Zoom chat, just drop your location so people can see where you're from. I'm sure probably you might be in the same neighborhood as someone. We also highly encourage, networking and stuff like that, right? Like we said, very inclusive, very diverse community. So please feel free, drop your location in the chat so people can see where you are. And, if they want to build some connections, they can go from there. I'll do a quick housekeeping and then we will talk about his interview process and how his day-to-day job look like. All right. Can you all see my screen? Can just say a yes in the Zoom chat. All right. Thank you so much. Yeah. So we have some upcoming events. The GRC hands-on project and workshop is starting on March 7th. So please take a note of that. AI governance and specialty course also March 9th, 2 days after the GRC internship hands-on workshop. And this is real hands-on. Those of you who have been through the class know exactly what you do. You work on real projects. We do attach you to companies. You do cybersecurity baseline security assessments using different frameworks. So please, I highly encourage you to look into that. Those who are looking forward to break into cybersecurity and need real hands-on experience, right? We also have our 7-day AI GRC Cyber Challenge starting on March 10. PCI DSS, a payment card industry data security standard, one of the lucrative, by far niches in cybersecurity. We have the specialist and also expert classes starting on March 12th. So please take a note take a note of that and bookmark that on your calendar. Cybersecurity entry-level course as well as usual. If you're trying to get a foundation, trying to see where you need to start from, that will be a good baseline for you going through all the cybersecurity domains from IAM, cryptography, networking, vulnerability management, incident response, pretty much everything that you need to know about cybersecurity to give you a strong foundation. I cannot stress that enough. Gabriel already touched on the foundation and how it is helping him right now in his job. Looking at the chat, I see someone is from Maryland. Thank you all those who are dropping your location into the chat. I see someone from Atlanta. Please keep in comment so people can see how diverse and inclusive we are. I see another Maryland, shout out here. Thanks to those who are in the DMV area. Getting late Friday, you can be anywhere, but you're still close to be here to learn from the community and also provide insights. We'll be diving into I see people also from Virginia. So we have a lot of representation from the DMV area. I don't know what's going on in mid and central US and also our left coast, our west coast. So please drop it in the chat. Let's see where you're from. I see someone all the way from Montreal, Quebec, Canada. Thank you for dropping that and let people know how diverse we are. Thank you so much. Connecticut in the house, Massachusetts. Thank you all for dropping that. Thank you so much. Yeah. Orange, New Jersey. Thanks, Abraham. Yeah. All right, I'll stop sharing my screen and please feel free, keep dropping your location into the chat. So Gabriel, we'll be diving into the next phase, which is the interview process, right? There are some people here, sometimes they are very good, academic, from academic standpoint, academically, they are good. But when it comes to interview, they get scared and stuff like that. But before we dive into your process, people are here, they have some baseline, they have some information they want to start applying for jobs. Can you speak to the 62 people in the Zoom chat right now? How was your journey applying for jobs? Did you apply for 2 jobs in a day? 3 jobs in a week? So, and I'm asking this for a reason. I want people to get inspired and know how the effort you need to put in to even get an interview scheduled on your calendar. Can you walk us through that?
Yeah, thank you very much. So for the interviews, going back to the challenges I said I had to conquer, which is time constraints because of the driving job that I was doing to fend for the family. I didn't have time to apply as much as I should on a daily basis. But even at that, I would still do maybe like 1 or 2 applications, regardless of how tired I am. So one thing I learned with that is you're trying to catch a whale and you are throwing a fork at the whale. You would spend forever trying to catch that whale. So what I did was I had to look for alternatives to increase the number of applications that I made on a daily basis or on a weekly basis. Trust me, if you're as much as there are lots of jobs like we see on cybersec.org and all of that, you can't put in 2 applications a day. It will take divine providence for you to get an interview in little or no time if that's what you do. So one thing I learned is you need to submit a whole lot of applications and bank on one of them actually hitting the bullseye. That's my takeaway from that experience. So you need to apply for as many jobs as possible. You need to do that, and lo and behold, there are several opportunities to do that. There are AI bots available to do that right now. So for those that are taking the AI governance class, designing bots and all of that, that Dr. Ado has been putting in our faces for the past a month and a half now. If you can design a bot for yourself, put your resume and let that bot do your applications, it will replicate what you do as an individual to a very high number. Trust me, I know people that do about 500 applications a week and even more. So that gives you a higher chance of getting called for an interview. So I think that's the way to go when it comes to getting applications out there. Do not rely on your 10, 15 submissions a day, because that's not enough. That is not enough, and it can be frustrating because, like me, I would look at job descriptions on LinkedIn and other sites, and I'll be like, I'm gonna nail this position. This $140,000 looks sweet on me. That's my job. But guess what? I won't get called for the interview because at times there are shortfalls, like your resume not even the getting past the application portal itself. And that's simply because initially I was submitting the same resume for all jobs available on planet Earth. And during my internship class, Dr. Adu, in the interview preps and resume revamp and all of that we did, I knew immediately that, oof, that's one capital error I've been committing for a while. And even some of us, after the internship program, we believe that we have, I think, what do we call it? We say it's our standardized general resume. Then we have some other specific ones for specific jobs aside. That's a good way to go, which is something I learned from the program as well. You can have a general resume, then you can have other resumes for third party specifically, some for risk assessment specifically, some for incident response, tailoring you as a subject matter expert for those specific domains. Then you can have a general one. But out of laziness, what we do is, you know what, dump the general resume on them, let them deal with that. I should get in with that. But we end up losing opportunities for positions that we are even overqualified for. So that's my thoughts on applications and resume design. I hope that answers the question. Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much, Gabriel. I know we've been doing a lot of talking here, so I'll give you like a minute to kind of regroup and let me look in the chat and see. I see some representation from Texas as well. Thank you so much, Lone Star State. I know Texas is like a whole country on its own. Thank you so much for dropping that. Please, team, keep dropping your location in the chat so people can see how diverse and also inclusive we are as a community. I'll be coming to Gabriel here in a minute. I want us to dive into his current role, what his day to day looks like, right? But before we do that, I want us to also kind of touch on his interview process. When did he receive that email that, okay, this is real? You have an opportunity to interview with, X company. How was the recruiting process? We'll dive into all of that. So, Gabriel, if you are ready again after taking a quick 30-minute or 1 minute break, some people out here, they probably have an interview scheduled. They are getting scared. They don't know how to prepare for interview. So, can you please talk to the 62 people here on the call today? Um, from the time you received an email that, hey, you're one of those selected to move forward in the interview process, can you talk to them about, how the interview process went? Was it a one-step interview process? Was it two? Was it three? How that, whole process went?
So the interview process proper, or just how I prepare for interviews?
Let's talk about the interview process, and then we'll talk about how you prepared for those interviews.
Okay. So the interview process typically takes about, I think, on the average of 4 stages, which starts with the recruiter of the organization or any third party they are using for that purpose gets in touch with you, introduces the position, the job description, and what is required. And for most of it, some of them would ask you technical questions just to get their screening off, so they don't have too many candidates to choose from. Then the next stage goes to speaking with someone on the team you will be working with, um, and probably your supervisor or your direct superior on the job proper. They get to interview you, or even before that, you can have HR talking to you to ensure that certain requirements are met even before you speak to the direct supervisor or the hiring manager proper. So that's like the third stage. Then the third stage in some instances would be you having a technical round where you'll be asked technical questions on the job descriptions as you've been shown by the previous two that interviewed you. Then for the technical round of questions, you can go back and forth, back and forth. And for most of it, technical questions, and some of it might include some behavioral questions, leadership questions as well. Then at the end of the day, you can now have a final interview with team members as well, so they can confirm to the hiring manager or your direct superior that you'll be a good fit for their team. So that's like the fourth stage. Then the final stage is usually a comeback from the hiring manager or the recruiter to tell you the job, you have it or you don't have it. You can get that by an interview, a meeting proper, or an email stating whether you've been chosen for the position or not. So that's usually the route that most of these interviews take. Yeah, thank you.
All right, thank you so much, Gabriel. So the next question for you is, everybody is pretty much, interested to, learn how you were successful. So sometimes people, prepare for interview when they learn all the technical stuff. They're trying to learn, what is risks, what is that, like all the technical stuff, right? From your experience, right? And, just working in the field, I'm sure you, attest to that. How critical will you lay emphasis on soft skills as well? Because, some of my friends will say you can have 200 years of experience, but if you don't know how to work well with a team, if you don't know how to follow up on tasks, if you don't know how to be, just, be a good team player. So from your point of view, going through the interview process and even starting your job now, how, well will you lay emphasis on soft skills in interview process?
Okay. The most important skill to possess in this present day, regardless of your field and your experience, the most important skill is communication and storytelling. If you look across board in this present time, that's what's earning people a whole lot of money. Even people that are not so, in quotes, talented, skilled, but they've mastered these two things, communication and storytelling. And what that helps you with is you can pick the most boring process, the most dry systems and activities, and you'd explain it such that the deaf would hear you, the blind would see exactly what you're talking about. That hands you the hearts of people all across board. Because even if you are speaking gibberish, the fact that you can communicate and catch their attention and get tasks done, you win the hearts of people a whole lot. And that's one particular skill I would say put me at the forefront in the interviews that I had. And learning from Dr. Adu that always speak from the position of knowledge at first. But trust me, the cybersecurity space has at least 80% of the professionals sound smart, super good with what they do, but they cannot explain what they do to an average person. So you having that communication and storytelling skill gives you the leverage over the technical person, because that technical person would come to you and say, oh, Gabriel, can you facilitate my meeting? I'll just tell you what to put in your slides and I'll give you the technical bits and you represent the whole team. And so that communication, I would like to break down into one, you speaking with clarity and having a very good writing skills, because your communication goes in those two folds, because you'll be sending out emails as feedbacks, as agendas, as follow-ups for whatever meeting you've had, probably virtually or in person. So your writing skills are essential just as much as your speaking skills are essential. And when you are talking to whether lower hubs or higher hubs, you need to break things down in grandpa style, which is one thing you take out of Eretmis. I would say that is Eretmis 101. Grandpa style, that's Eretmis 101 for you. You learn how to break very technical things into simple chunks that anyone can digest. And one typical question you get on your interview is, how do you give us a scenario where you explained a very technical process or system to senior management, and what was the outcome? So you want to look at how you can do that, because you are constantly going to do that on a daily basis. So the most important skill, I would say, is communication and storytelling. And secondly, you want to learn how to be a good team member. Being a good team member means having an understanding that interest-based approach is the best way to handle any task or conflict that would arise in whatever team you find yourself. And for those that are in the Eretmis internship currently, I would use this opportunity to tell you that you being successful on the job you're looking for out there starts with you being a good team member where you are currently. Do not hide. Do not hide. Show yourself worthy of that job that is waiting for you by being a good team member currently and taking that to the workspace. A good team member outside work tend to be a good team member on the job itself. So let it start and build that culture for yourself. So being a good team member, communication and storytelling, those are essential skills aside the foundation you would have built for yourself by understanding the job and the domains that make up the GRC subject matter expert proper. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much, Gabriel. Biggest takeaway of this whole is grandpa style. I know Emmanuel was pretty much laughing, and he knows how valuable that piece of advice is due to the community. We will be diving. We are getting towards the end of the session today. It is 12 minutes past the top of the hour. I want to give the community opportunity to ask any questions. They'll raise their virtual hand, and we'll pick questions. But before we do that, people want to know, a lot of people talk about, imposter syndrome, you work so hard, but sometimes you doubt yourself when you get your offer letter and your start date. People are here, maybe someone just got his or her, offer letter. They're trying to start their new role, but they're pretty much scared. Do I know enough? Will I be fired within the next day or week? How did you deal with that, challenge of doubting yourself, or imposter syndrome, if you will, as some people may call it? And how confident were you with the training and resources that you had that made you successful once you started your job?
Okay, so one thing we want to ask ourselves is, what is the characteristics of an imposter? Somebody who is at a place that is not meant for them. You are occupying a position that is not meant for you, either by you not having the requisite knowledge to occupy that position. That's what makes you an imposter. And remember what Dr. Adu used to say, you don't want to be a working heart attack. And the only solution to that is to make sure you are grounded in the subject matter you have chosen as a professional. So if you have the requisite knowledge, that first of all kills what qualifies you to be an imposter in any environment at all. I've shared this in other meetings that we've had on Eretmis, how I got started on my job. I got my laptop on Friday, and Monday I was thrown straight into a closing meeting for a SOC 2 audit. We had external auditors from A-Line on the meeting, I had my direct boss that I had not seen or spoken to after the interview. It was right on the meeting. I had the senior vice president operations, and I had the director of IT and cybersecurity on that meeting. And they throw me in that meeting immediately as the subject matter expert for the whole organization, first day of job. So you can just literally say, if I suffer the imposter syndrome, I'm losing my job right there on the first day. That's just the interpretation for me. So the way I navigated that, all of the opportunities for improvement, OFIs, non-conformities that the external auditors had flagged the organization for, I didn't even think about the solution twice. I didn't think about it twice. I was just giving it to the external auditor, and I bet my supervisor and the senior vice president were like, "Oh, we made the right choice to get this guy," because I knew exactly what I was talking about. There were not big issues that couldn't be resolved, and even those that the organization was actually found wanting, I actually gave them the remediation and the management response right there and then, even before sending it in later on. So imposter syndrome will be solved by having ample knowledge of what exactly you are doing, which is why you need to invest in knowledge at Eretmis to make sure you build your confidence, you've done the work, you've seen how systems and processes are, and you can speak as a subject matter expert. That's the best way to go away from this imposter syndrome that most people suffer on the job. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much. We are 60 minutes after the top of the hour. We'll be wrapping up here shortly. Gabriel, people want to learn what you do now, how your day-to-day looks like, and if it's okay to share without releasing any sensitive information. People want to know some of the tools that you use. Is it someone is asking, do they need to learn how to use Excel? Do they need to learn how to create PowerPoint slides? How to respond to emails? Tell them how your day-to-day job looks like and some of the tools that you highly encourage them to start working on or getting very familiar with.
The most important tool for any GRC subject matter expert, regardless of the domain, the most important tool is not what most people would expect. Is not your vulnerability management scanning tools, not your project management tools, and all of that. But one tool that serves as the foundation for those tools is what you need to understand how it works, because it's the basic foundation upon which all of those tools exist, and that's Microsoft Excel. It is like gold. If your organization, regardless of their security maturity, their security posture, there's no way, there's no way any of their processes and activities is not passing through Microsoft Excel. Your risk register, for instance, is on Microsoft Excel. Your templates, documentations is on Microsoft Excel. So Excel is one of the most, if not the most important tool you need to know how to use. And trust me, it is not rocket science. I stopped using Microsoft's suits on Excel, PowerPoint, and all of that. I stopped using it for about 5 years when I was struggling and hustling, doing some things other than being in the office or the academic space. And immediately I started work, I picked all of those back. It is not rocket science. Those things are super easy to pick up and use. So you might want to get a hold of that, get some functions. All of those videos are on YouTube. You can learn every function on YouTube. And the good thing is, with the advent of AI now, even while you're on a spreadsheet, whatever you want to do, you can ask AI. AI will tell you, okay, do this, click that, and you get whatever function sorted out for you right there. So by the time you repeat that process over and over again, Excel becomes second nature to you. You know exactly what you want to do, and you can get results with that. And for other tools, your Rapid7, Splunk, project management tools, and all of that. Several organizations have different softwares, different tools, homegrown tools, generic tools. They have it in place. So if you say you want to go invest in learning a particular tool and your organization don't use that particular tool, you would have wasted time and money. So what you want to do is look for one or two generic ones when it the ones that apply to different domains. Take, for instance, your vulnerability scanners. Learn how those work. Just learn one of them, or what's the foundation. One thing I always target is this: what is the foundation behind these tools? How do they work? If you understand how they work, then you can apply that knowledge to whichever one your organization is using. So that's my own mindset on that. For project management, we make use of Asana in my organization. Document and policy development, updates and all of that. We have Zorelia. What else do we use? Ticketing tools. We have not Jira. We have Elo. Elo. So all of those things are basics. It's just click, 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 click. So don't let the fear of, oh, I don't know this tool, don't let it kill you. Even for vulnerability scanners, there are dialog boxes that are self-explanatory for you to know, okay, drop this here, click this button, get your results, get your reports. It is not rocket science. Don't get carried away from the foundations and the core technical things you need to know as regards those domains, and you choose to focus on a tool. You'll be missing the mark if that's your line of thought towards breaking into this field. So leave tools, focus on the technical things as much as you can. If you can, lay your hands on generic ones, understand the foundations, and you'll be fine. Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much, Gabriel, for that information. Very, very powerful. Like you said, biggest highlight. Excel is one of your best tools. So start brushing up on your skills. Do not overthink and overcomplicate. There's going to be tools everywhere. Don't be scared about all the Jiras, the Confluence, the Asanas, the ServiceNow, the QualiScans, the, Azure architecture stuff, AWS. Like, don't be scared about all of those. All he's saying is, once you get in there, it's not rocket science. It's not post-quantum cryptography, right? It's not neurosurgery. I'm sure you'll figure it out. That's literally what he's trying to say. Gabriel, people want to know how your day-to-day work looks like. When you wake up, do you check your emails? Do you join meetings? People want to know how if it's okay to talk about without going to details, how your day-to-day life as a, GRC manager looks like. And people also are looking for flexibility and coming to the cybersecurity field. They are looking for work from home opportunities and stuff like that. Also, if you can end with how is your schedule like? Is it a hybrid? Do you work from home? Is it a full-time in the office?
Okay, to start with, my job it was advertised as fully remote. But getting to understand what I will be doing, managing the entire compliance program, and particularly for the requirements in ISO 27001, PCI DSS. For my organization, we have adherence to requirement number 9 that applies to physical security. So this past week, I had to visit one of our data centers to do a physical security audit. So, and that's going to be the same for the other 14 data centers that we have across the world as well. I would have to visit those sites to conduct a physical audit before the QSA goes to those places to check. I need to be there myself to see if our processes and items in those requirements are fully met. I can't just take the word of the facility managers as gospel truth. I need to check for myself, which is part of my function as the compliance manager. So on a daily, the way my schedule is, I don't have a cast in stone items on a daily basis. It depends on what's happening part time. But typically, I start work about 9, check my emails and check the ticketing portal, which is Elo, if I have tickets assigned to me, particularly tickets that has to do with third-party risk management. Whenever we are onboarding a new vendor, department makes use of the procurement intake form, and I had already designed the criteria upon which a vendor will be assigned to me for me to do the IT security review for that particular vendor. So I've designed the criteria based on the impact, the level of access the vendor would require from IT. So if they cut across the requirements that I've given to the system, it automatically pops up. So when I wake up and I see notification that, oh, this particular vendor answered yes to any of the 3 security questions that I have in the procurement intake form, then I'll need to do the proper security review of that vendor. So that's that. If I have a vendor review to do, I check the ticketing portal to see what tickets have been assigned to me. Then I manage the vendor tracker as well, because it's part of the requirements of those framework as well, that we keep a record of our high and medium risk critical infrastructure vendors. So I maintain a vendor tracker using Excel, like we mentioned earlier. I use Excel for that. Then the risk register of the organization, I maintain that risk register as well, update it as much as I can and as it is required. Then what else? There are always meetings. Like every Tuesday, I have a one-on-one meeting with my director of IT and cybersecurity. I have a meeting, a one-on-one meeting where I let him understand the need for certain resources. If I have issues dealing with the vendor, if I have issues finding some templates and documentations that the organization has already, I would get clarity on those. Then if I need any assistance whatsoever from senior management, that goes through my immediate supervisor, who is the director of IT and cybersecurity. Then yeah, I think there's always a departmental meeting as well on Wednesdays. I do my departmental meetings. So basically, my task centers around the risk register, third-party risk management, meetings as required. I facilitate all of the meetings required by ISO 27000. So you're like this week now, I'm working on the ISMS manual, where I'll be updating the objectives for the year, set up meetings for for the security committee, ask all of the departments that are in scope what they intend achieving for the year to support our ISMS goals. So all of those I have to put together and compile. So maintenance of all the documents, meetings required by these 3 frameworks that I mentioned are my responsibility on a daily. So I'm constantly looking at how I can map, control map those requirements and set up meetings to fulfill those obligations, because typically the frameworks expect you do those meetings and document them. But considering how busy every department is pursuing the core goals of the organization, they can't give you that time to schedule 4 meetings for PCI, 5, 7, 8 meetings for ISO, another set of meetings for SOC 2 Type 2. They won't give you that luxury. So it is in my place to find the meeting point of all those 3 frameworks and create an audit calendar, which is one of the things I had to do in the previous week, create an audit calendar and set those meetings such that information that is required to be fulfilled in those requirements, I get them from the limited meetings that I can have members of the security committee and the heads of departments to attend. So that's how my typical work day goes. Initially, I thought I was bored until the month of February started, and once I had my audit plan and audit program set out, I knew, okay, now it's business time, no more. Because I got bored initially that what am I doing here? I'm not getting any task as much as I should. But with all of those meetings and information gathering, designing the program from scratch, because my organization never had a compliance manager before. They used to outsource to a company to conduct their internal audits, do their risk assessments, get them audit ready for all of those 3 frameworks. Now all of that responsibility falls on me. So it's what I do on a daily, and I think that's just a simple breakdown of my tasks and responsibilities. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much, Gabriel. We are 1 minute to the bottom of the hour, and we will open up the floor for people to ask questions as we wrap up for the day. Renee, I think you'll be the first person to ask. So yeah, thank you so much. Before we give Renee the floor, if you can also tailor your work-life balance. I'm sure there's a lot of, family people here, people with spouses, kids and stuff like that. I'm sure someone would love to know how they can balance all of that as you started your role. So please go ahead, Renee, and please just raise your virtual hands. I'll look up in the queue and I'll call you up. Please, Renee, the floor is yours.
All right, thank you, Michael. Congratulations, Gabriel. The
Thank you.
question I have, I hear you say, are you part of a team or are you just by yourself doing everything?
Okay, so my department, which is the Department of IT, has just 4 people in it. We have the Senior Vice President Operations, we have the Director of IT and Cybersecurity, we have an IT technician, and we have myself, the Internal Compliance Manager. So we're a team of 4. So everything that has to do with compliance falls on my table. My immediate boss, who is the Director of IT and Cybersecurity, has the responsibility of all of the technical stuffs when it comes to your MFA, single sign-ons, encryption, IT assets, and all of those. He handles all of the technical stuff, but he understands nada when it comes to compliance. So anything that has to do with compliance falls on me. But while I'm doing my compliance work, there are lots of technical stuff filtering into that, and we'll both need to sit down and address those technical stuff. So I'm utilizing both my technical knowledge of controls as well as the compliance part of GRC. So that's how my department works.
All right. Thank you so much for, sharing your team's composition. All right. Abraham, please go ahead.
Yeah, thank you very much. Congratulations, Gabriel. My question is, I know GRC requires knowledge of many industry frameworks and regulations. I'm sure that in Eretmis, interns are introduced to the 3 main frameworks: the NIST CSF, CIS controls, and ISO 27001.
Mm-hmm.
I want to know how you are able to familiarize yourself with other frameworks and regulations that you know nothing about. For instance, upon starting your new role at your company, how are you able to familiarize yourself with other frameworks and regulations that you may not have any idea about?
Mm-hmm.
They look plenty. It can be overwhelming, so to speak.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So if you look at the 3 frameworks that I mentioned, ISO 27001, PCI DSS, and SOC 2, that's what Eretmis takes you through while you're having your internship program. And every GRC subject matter expert will tell you that ISO 27001 by itself is like the Bible of controls. When you look at the cross mapping of ISO 27001 with other frameworks, it's one of the framework that cuts across different frameworks that you can ever think of, because those frameworks actually pick ISO 27001 as its foundation. And all of this framework, whichever one it is, addresses about the same thing. It will address issues of identity and access management, issues of business continuity, issues of risk assessment and third-party vendor management, issues of encryption, issues of vulnerability management, incident response. Those are the core areas that this framework address. They might have their controls itemized differently, but central to all of those controls in this framework and the structure to which they operate is still the same domains of governance, risk, and compliance. So that's why ISO 27001 is chief amongst several frameworks. And the same thing with NIST Cybersecurity Framework too. They have the same foundation. So regardless of the framework you're looking at in any organization that you find yourself, your understanding of that foundation across the domains gives you ample understanding. Okay, what is this framework saying? Because they would make different requirements for those different domains, and that's what you need to adhere to as an organization. So you being a subject matter, whatever framework your organization needs to adhere to, these frameworks are numerous. Just last week, while we were trying to onboard a GRC2, our European team was saying, oh, there is a NIS2, NIS2, as a number 2 in Europe that we need to consider for compliance because of our customers over there in Europe. And I checked NIS2 and I saw that 80% of that framework is just ISO 27001. When you look across privacy laws, CCPA, GDPR, the ones in Canada and all of those, central to them are the same foundations that they are testing. They will just call it different names and the penalty might be stringent than the other. That's just what separates those frameworks. So whatever it is, just understand what foundation is important, which I'll tell you, your NIST CSF, ISO 27001, and probably SOC 2 Type 2 would keep you grounded in every other framework that you come across. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Sorry about that. Gabriel, this is just a follow-up. Sorry about that. With the knowledge of ISO 27001, would it be right to include CCPA, PCI, and GDPR on your resume, and then you justify that you actually have knowledge about these legal regulations when you have knowledge of ISO 27001? I don't know whether you
So if you
understand. Let's say you have ISO 27001. Can you confidently write on your resume as having experience in GDPR, CCP, PCI, HIPAA, and so on? Can you confidently write that you are familiar with that, even though you are not?
So your first line of defense in any interview is the ability to defend every single thing you've written on your resume. So if you write there that you understand GDPR, what are the foundations of the GDPR? Do you know all of those foundations and principles that govern GDPR? So if you're attending any interview and they ask you that question, you should be able to provide answers. And that's all you require for an interview.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Yes, sir.
All right. Thank you so much, Abraham, for your questions. And thank you so much, Gabriel, for your answer. And this will probably cut across for everybody. So for everybody, I wouldn't be too much worried about different frameworks. So great answer from Gabriel. So whether it's SOX, PCI, SOC 2, whether it's ISO 27001 or ISMS, yeah, we also have a Korean version, KISMS, whatever version it is, right? NYDFS, NIS2, whatever, right? It's pretty much the same ITGC controls, right? So the basic foundation are there. So all you need to know is your regular access control, your general, change management, IT operations with, system configs, patching management, logical and physical security, like most of these controls are very much the same. You can apply to many. Most companies are even moving to what we call a secure common framework, right? It's a baseline of controls that we call test one, apply many. So you set up controls, you can apply for PCI, apply for SOC 2, apply for GDPR, like it's all baseline, right? So if I were you, just to encourage you, I wouldn't even worry too much about learning different frameworks. Once you know your basic general ITGC controls, like I just mentioned, you'll be perfectly fine and you'll be well positioned to handle any framework that you do as a GRC professional. Dr. Du, please go ahead and, chime in here.
Okay, so hello, everyone. And I've been on here listening to Gabriel the whole time. Now, Gabriel, somebody was asking about imposter syndrome, right? And if, you go on the job, you are new. On the flip side, people don't also ask imposter syndrome from the perspective of the company. And what do I mean? Like the shock that you're going to get. Thinking you are new, you go there and they have everything set up right. And you realize these people are all jacked up. They don't know they are left from the other left. What was your experience with that? Because during the internship, Gabriel was very adamant on, I don't think we are prepared adequately for this. And I'm like, Gabriel, chill out. You do fine, right? You know way too much. So Gabriel, going into this company, expecting the world from them, thinking, a huge company, probably $1 billion company, they have everything to set up. What was your encounter? Instead of imposter syndrome, what were you going, pointing out this is wrong, that is wrong, why are you guys doing this is wrong? What was your encounter with that?
1 second. So the thing is this, for those of us that have an understanding of the different, what's it called? The different tiers that NIST Cybersecurity Framework gives us, that they will tell you, oh, this organization, for their security posture, they are adaptable, reputable, risk informed, and all of that. Oh, this organization under CIS is on implementation group 1, implementation group 2, implementation group 3, and all of that stuff for distinctions. It is actually true in operation when you start relating with these organizations. So regardless of how big, how rich an organization is, it does not justify their security maturity at all. You can have an organization like Dr. Adu said with 10 billion in revenue, 10,000 employees, but trust me, you'll be shocked that their security posture and maturity is way flat on the floor, which is why they've employed you in the first place. And the imposter syndrome can actually come from the fact that they are used to certain ways of doing things, and you as a subject matter expert, knowing what you're doing and seeing the level which the organization is, what they don't have and what they have, you can tell them, okay, you know what, let's do this, let's do that. But the fact that the organization has a set way that they've been doing things and they've been getting away with it, that tends to shake you up a little bit, that am I doing too much? Am I on the right track? But you'd always have that confidence at the back of you that I know exactly this is what this should be. So if an organization, for instance, is ready to pay you a certain amount, they are not paying you for your looks. They are paying you for the knowledge you are bringing to the table. So even the organization itself or members of your team that don't know a quarter of what you know, they wouldn't want to show it to your face. So you don't see them as incompetent. So some of them, even without facts, figures, and accuracy of whatever they are saying, they will challenge you. So it is now left for you to cower and say, okay, let's do it that way. But if you can stand on your onions and say, you know what, this is how this thing works. Take, for instance, I had a contention with, right now, the biggest challenge, which I'm still going to discuss with Dr. Adu on the one-on-one, is the challenge I'm facing currently. My organization, like I mentioned, have been outsourcing all they've been doing when it comes to compliance to a third party. They've been paying thousands of dollars every year before they got me in to take care of the entire program. And my boss, we're having a conversation. He will just tell you, this is how I did this. This is how I did this. But I know that this is wrong. So I would initially I would want to defend my ground and let him understand why this is right or not. So I noticed he's always on the defensive, like, so far it works, don't let's break it. That's his rule. So far it works, let's not break it so it doesn't look different to the external auditors when they come in. But I let him understand that for the fact that an external auditor is letting something slide, because they are trying to protect their own business as well. They won't keep flagging all the time, so you don't send them away and go get another external auditor, because you have the right as an organization to pick whoever your external auditor would be. So I told him, for the fact they are letting it slide doesn't mean it is right. And how do I prove that to him and not just accept whatever he said? I wait till we are running the processes as they should. And when those gaps show up, I speak and tell him, okay, remember what I told you about how ISMS objectives and plans should be written. It shouldn't just be about the IT department's objective for the year. It should be about the objectives that every department in scope should work. That's exactly what we'll be writing in this chapter. So for the fact that we wrote it as just IT department's objectives in the previous year doesn't make it right. And I will show him evidence from the requirements that ISO provides. Then you say, that's exactly what, okay, get in touch with the other departments and get what their objectives and plan for the year is, as it helps us achieve the objectives of our ISMS general goal as it is. Also, I designed a PowerPoint presentation for ISMS manual update. He said, okay, let's meet tomorrow to talk about this. Immediately he got to the meeting, he saw the PowerPoint slide. Oh, I was like, oh, we don't need the PowerPoint slide. Why do we need the PowerPoint slide? We'll just go through it together, go through the chapters and fix whatever needs to be fixed. I'm like, hey, really? How do we do that? How do we make decisions for departments in scope when they are not there? So by the time we are doing risk assessments, we are calling for meetings. What would they talk about in the meetings when they didn't even contribute to the objectives we are trying to run the entire compliance program on for the entire year? So I'm like, no, I've never done it like that in the past year, yada, 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 yada. So by the time we started, the exact slides that I had prepared, where we discuss each of the chapters in the ISMS manual, were exactly what other department needed to provide. So when I asked him this, he would say, contact executive vice president of product and delivery. I'll be like, but I told you, I showed you on the slides that that's what we are going to do. But he said, no, that's not how you do it. So how did you get that information initially? So bottom line is this: you need to know your onions, and you should be ready to speak out, not in an aggressive way, but find the perfect timing to place the facts in the faces of those that are contending for what you know and what you are there to do in the organization. Thank you, Dr. Adu.
All right.
Okay, thank you. And a quick follow-up, Michael. So back to Gabriel. Don't you think you find yourself in this spot of now it's more about office politics and knowing how to not step on the wrong foot, right? Not step on your boss's foot, or kind of showing his face you are wrong. Is this not from the fact that probably you know way too much? So because if you didn't, you would have just went with the flow.
Yeah. So that's actually funny because on that call, I work from home. So my wife was downstairs. She was listening to the conversation when I had to do the presentation for the ISMS manual update. It got to a point when I was trying to defend myself. My wife sent me a text message. Was like, dude, shut your mouth up and just give him whatever you want and let it slide. But me being who I am, I'm like, nah, okay. I said, okay, I'll keep quiet, but I'll find the perfect time to speak. Guess what? We met one-on-one at our facility in Dallas, and all of those things that I was saying now made better sense when we're trying to do the job proper. And it was just funny because it's out of knowing too much that you would question things, but it is better for you to know too much than to know nothing and let someone outside the organization come point it out. So you can imagine the gaps that I'm finding out of knowing too much. If that was actually figured out by an external auditor, the entire organization will come back and point fingers at me that, dude, we pay you every month and you didn't see this for a whole year. How come we are missing this with all of what we pay you? So that's the idea of knowing too much and understanding when to speak. So I understand absolutely what Dr. Adu is saying. And guess what? Regardless of what my tone and all of that was, we got our work done at the facility. We both went for lunch. We ate, drank, enjoyed ourselves because we had already created a bond during the company retreat in Miami about 3 weeks ago that we both understand the way we think, how we address issues, how we like to be talked to, how I like to take feedback, how he likes to take feedback, how he likes to be communicated for certain things. He doesn't like emails. Call him, talk to him 5-10 minutes on the phone, he saw things. So all of those things, we had that bonding already. So that gave me the leverage to be able to get my word across because I've taken time to understand it, which is one of the things you learn in team dynamics when you are taking the internship, because you have all sorts of different personalities and you need to understand how to deal with those personalities. So I think that's a good one, Dr. Adu. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. And before I hand over to Michael, so and Michael can also give the floor to other people. How different is what you're doing on the job from what you were doing in the internship?
This is it's simply put photocopy. It is photocopy because first of all, group dynamics, group politics, everything comes into play on a daily basis. On a daily basis to come into play. I need a pool of evidence from different departments. I need to get my tasks done. If I cannot negotiate, if I cannot interact, if I cannot find the perfect time or the perfect tone to request for the things that I need for my job to be successful, I would not get it. I would not get it. The senior vice president operations told me, you know what? All of the meetings that I've been forcing myself to conduct in the past, I'm not doing them anymore. I'm canceling all of the series. You're gonna take care of all of that. What does that mean? I would need to start talking to members or heads of other departments that need to be on the meeting, align with them, and figure out how to get whatever I want from them. And how did that happen? I did a security PCI a physical security meeting. I facilitated that for him, and he was like, "Oh, he has never done this like this in the last 4 years. That he just rambles. He doesn't have a PowerPoint presentation. He doesn't have an agenda. He just rambles, and he struggles to get his meeting minutes out of the meeting. That the way I've structured it, he's never conducting any meeting in the organization again. That will be the one doing that. So that's even additional work for knowing what to do and how to do it for the organization." So all of the things you do on the internship and the programs, other programs, are exact replica of what you'll be doing in the organization. We present every Saturday morning. We would fight ourselves. We would accuse members of the team of not submitting their part of the task on time. And one thing you need to learn that one good thing I learned with group dynamics with the internship is, I don't know if I should say this, but I'll say it is the truth, is the fact that for every task that we need to achieve, I came to the understanding that only 10% of the people will do 100% of the job. Sounds crazy, but it's the truth. So how do you identify the 10% that will contribute to the success of your task? That's where your intelligence comes in, and how to play group politics and understanding the soft spot for members of your team so you can achieve results. That's exactly what I'm doing currently with my group. We had a company retreat in Miami where it's a relaxed environment. So I made sure that I was in the circle of those that would give me most of the information that I needed. I have 4 departments in scope for all of the three frameworks. I have purchasing, IT, operations, what's the 4th one? HR. So I made sure for each of those departments, I identified the heads of those, but I met them in person. Oh, I'm the one that has been disturbing you via email and all of that. I spoke with them. We became friends. They added me up on LinkedIn. We drank, ate together, partied till like 3 a.m. So I go, okay, yes. And you know one thing about socializing with people that you work with, you create a bond such that it leaves a memory that if you request something, there's an allegiance already. So I'm learning the politics, Dr. Adu. You taught me that one well. So I did that one. And that's exactly what happens in the groups at Eretmis internship as well. So learning to cope with that, you'll be replicating the same processes and activities on the job proper. Thank you.
Thank you, Michael. You can please take it away.
All right. Thank you so much, Gabriel. Thank you so much, Dr. Du, for chipping in and asking those important questions. So we will be wrapping up here. I know we're trying to be respectful of time as well. I know this conversation is getting very, very enjoying and very interesting and entertaining as well. But, we have some people here, they need to go attend to other stuff. So we also try to be respectful of time. So we really do appreciate everybody's time. Thank you for joining. The recording obviously will be available and posted on our YouTube channel when that becomes available. Feel free, reach out to us if you need anything. Also, the dates that we also talked about with our upcoming courses that is about to start next month in March. So please look forward to that as well. And just reach out to us if you need something. So before we drop, Gabriel, I'm sure some people might love to connect with you, maybe offline, so you can help them, mentor them, help their journey. Is this something that you'll be able to do so they can help, you can help and assist them?
Absolutely. Doctor knows my passion lies in making impact as little as it can be, and I always make myself available whenever I have the opportunity to. Because if someone don't pay the price of impacting me, I wouldn't be where I am today. And that's how I live my life. I believe if each one can reach one, each one can teach one. I run by that on a daily basis. So as much time as I have that I can spare, I would always do that. So I'm free to connect with anybody as much as I can help. I'll be there. But one thing I would say quickly, I just sent a chat to someone in the group right now that I am terrible with my phone. I don't think I ate anything more than my phone. But the truth is, if you call me, if I don't pick up, send a message, I would reach back as soon as possible. Definitely. That's one thing I do.
All right. Thank you so much. And yeah, so Dr. Lee just drop information in there. If you need any help, just make an appointment, set it up on eretmis.com/appointment, and we can point you in the right direction. Thank you, Team Eretmis. We appreciate everybody's time for joining. This will be ending now. And thank you for joining and have a wonderful weekend.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Gabriel. We really do appreciate your time.
Yes, sir.
Have a great night, everyone.